Back in the day, it was nearly impossible to get a visa to travel to America from China, but things sure have changed. More details in this original post.
The U.S. Congress is discussing a motion proposed by the U.S. and China, which intends to increase the income of domestic retailers by promoting tourism in the U.S., and thus creating more jobs and helping the economy.
In recent years, the U.S. has made concerted efforts to attract more visitors from emerging economies. And who could be a better poster child for that than China? Starting in February, the U.S. loosened visa policies for China, such as renewal of visas without undergoing another interview. Additionally, the U.S. has assigned more staff to China to meet increasing demand. On January 19th, U.S. President Obama signed an executive order to significantly increase travel and tourism in the U.S., with the goal of increasing visa processing capacity in China by 40%. According to Charles Bennett, the minister counselor at the U.S. Embassy, nearly 90% of non-immigrant applications from Chinese nationals are approved. Compare that to around 30% in the 1980s. So what do Chinese microbloggers think about this new initiative? Let's find out. First is Mo.
Smart. Chinese people will spend more money on those made-in-China stuff. I hope the self-help travel to the U.S. will be allowed soon. Then we can save the miserable American people. The U.S. government is trying every method to solve the unemployment problem. Using tourism to develop the economy, I don't think it's the typical American way of doing things.
Actually, tourism is one of the major income streams for the U.S. According to whitehouse.gov, nearly 60 million international visitors spent $134 billion in America in 2010. And now, with growing disposable income among China's rich, more and more see going to the U.S. as a vacation instead of as an escape. The American tourism industry is taking notice too, with numerous businesses customizing their services for Chinese travelers. For example, the Hilton and Starwood hotels in LA now employ Chinese-speaking staff, offer tea kettles in each room, provide traditional Chinese breakfast items such as congee, and deliver welcome letters written in Chinese. The Hilton in San Gabriel even has Chinese language channels accessible in every room. Mainland Chinese travelers have nearly tripled since 2000 and expected to triple again by 2015. But it's not a cheap trip. According to the U.S. Commerce Department, Chinese visitors spent on average $6,300 per person per visit. Acknowledging this, Obama has said, quote, ensuring the U.S. is a top travel destination for Chinese travelers is more of a national priority than marketing material. The U.S. Department of Commerce estimates that arrivals from China will increase approximately 274% between 2012 and 2016. So what are Chinese people going to America for? Is it to see the Statue of Liberty or to see the Hollywood sign? Well, yes, they want to see all the tourist attractions that make America, America. But their main reason is to go shopping. According to Pierre Jevois, Chinese travelers spent approximately $7.2 billion abroad on luxury goods, and it's increasing by approximately 30% per year. Remember the concept that we introduced you to called Peking Pound, which describes the shopping frenzy of Chinese consumers when buying abroad? Well, the Peking Pound is just an added bonus as part of the new tourism initiative. And while statistics rise for conventional tourist travels, there has also been an increase in other gray forms of travel. Have you ever heard of birth tourism? This is where wealthy pregnant mothers travel to birth their babies in foreign countries. Although there has been no concrete numbers supporting the trend, more and more rich Chinese women are now mothers to children with U.S. citizenships. This is a way for parents to provide bigger opportunities and liberties for their offsprings in the future. But as it stands, shopping is still the #1 reason for Chinese travelers to visit the U.S., something drastically different than the reasons 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago. Back then, Chinese went to America seeking the American dream. China was a borderline third world country with limited opportunities. Thus, many fled to the U.S. to obtain better education and better paying jobs. So at that time, while many Chinese went to the U.S. on a tourist visa, they had plans to stay for the long haul. And both countries were aware of this, thus the stricter visa policies at the time. In the past, the Chinese government was very concerned about Chinese nationals escaping their own country. Take a look at Chinese tour groups. It is still normal for the tour guide to hold on to your passport the entire trip for the fear that some would take their passport and run. Today, there may still exist a desire to escape, but it is a feeling hard to justify when you see the number of Westerners fleeing to China.